So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by making the rice pilaf. I'm just going to turn on the heat to this pan. I've added in about a tablespoon of clarified butter. Oil, you don't want to use clarified butter, use oil, but butter gives it a nice flavor. The butter is now warmed. I'm going to add the chopped dates inside with the butter. So I'm just going to stir the dates. I just took it off the heat because I don't want the butter to burn. And the butter is just going to soften up the dates somewhat. I'm not trying to turn the date into mush. I just want to coat it with flavor. So now it has been infused with butter. To the dates, I'm going to add hot pepper. But the hot pepper, what it does, and you'll find it a lot in Thai food particularly, hot and sweet is a nice combination. They sort of balance one another. I'm just going to stir that back here. This is cinnamon, which is nice. And this is just a little bit of allspice. Okay, and mix again. So now I'm going to add the rice. Basmati rice that I've soaked in aquapana. You can soak it in any water you like. The reason why I soak the rice in advance, it will help it cook faster. It'll plump up faster. It'll actually plump up in the water. And then you drain it and then add it to the mixture. So this is some rice that I'm going to add. How long you soak it for? Half an hour. Half an hour before you're about to make it, or an hour. So I'm going to add it by putting in chicken stock. أو مرق دجاج. And I just put enough stock to immerse the rice, allow it to come to a boil. Okay, and then I'm going to cover it eventually and let it cook. Cardamom. And all I'm going to do is bruise it so that I can release the flavor. Okay, so I'm going to put the whole cardamom pods inside. I put in 2 cinnamon sticks. Again, more flavor, more fragrance. This is a very fragrant rice. So I'm going to add in some citrus flavor by just peeling a little bit of the zest. And this is not intended to eat. I'm going to take it out later once it's done its work. So I'm just adding a nice smell and fragrance and taste. So a little bit of salt. And just plain old black pepper. These are all ingredients that you can find. I'm going to now turn down the rice and let it come down to a low simmer. Cover it. All right, on here, I'm going to make the sauce. Into the saucepan is a little bit of olive oil, zait zaytoun, which is what olive oil is, and I put in 2 circles. And then I put in a little bit of chopped garlic. So I'm going to saute chopped garlic. Okay, I'm sauteing it only to get the smell. Okay, I'm not trying to brown it, okay, because you have to be careful with garlic. All right, to that, I'm going to add something called cilantro. Tons of it here. Don't tell me you can't find it. Everywhere. This is like, you know, the herb of this part of the world. So we've got the cilantro, or it's known as coriander as well. Green coriander that's been chopped. In Arabic, it's called kuzbara. So I have already de-seeded and chopped this spice. Now, when you make this at home, you control it. Don't put as much spice if you can't take it. Put less. If you don't want the spice, leave it out. It doesn't change the taste, okay? To this, I add fresh tomato puree. So I just take fresh tomatoes, whiz them in a food processor, or use one of these wonderful little immersion blenders, whatever, and we get a puree. So I also add in diced tomatoes so that they will cook down, but they will keep their texture. Okay, so tomatoes go in as well. Okay, to this, I'm going to add a sprinkle of, not salt, sugar. Why do I put sugar? So it kills the acidity a little bit. Okay, this is black pepper, filfil aswad, umilih, which is salt. Mixing away. Let's check on our rice. Ooh, looking good. Okay, 5 minutes before it's done, I add in Zafaran, which is saffron, that I've diluted or allowed to soak inside rose water. All right, so what I do is I drizzle over in little swirls. So what is this going to add? It's going to add some fragrance at the end, and it's also going to add some color. So it's going to make it yellow. But I'm not going to go in there because you're probably going to say, okay, she's going to take her spoon now and stir it. No, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to make it all yellow. I want it to be swirls of yellow. Okay, so we leave it alone. Don't touch. All right, so cover it again and just allow it to cook. But rose water is easily found in supermarkets in a bottle. There's distilled rose water. How much, sorry? Saffron? A pinch, 2 pinches. Yeah, pinches. It's like, yeah, it's like strings, right? So you just take 1 and 2. And then if I want to give it just a little more substance, if I want it just to thicken up a little, I add a little bit of tomato paste. Okay? All right. Now, my fish, I've chosen to use sea bass today, and I've marinated it earlier with salt, pepper, fennel, which is shomar in Arabic, shomar, and I put a little sumac. You know what sumac is? It is actually a kind of berry that grows on a sumac tree, and it is ground. And taste it, feel free. It's just a tart spice. Okay, I'm going to turn on the heat on here now because I'm going to grill my fish. Now I've put cumin, sumac, fennel, salt, pepper. I've also coated it with oil, olive oil. So the oil's already on the fish. I'm going to add a little more. I'm not going to put the oil in the fry pan, but on the fish. It should sizzle. There it is. There's the sizzle. So skin side down first. My rice is completely done now, and I'm going to turn it off and leave it covered because it will continue to cook through the steam. It's going to help it cook as well. The skin is getting nice and crisp, and I just flip it. It's only going to take about 3 minutes on one side and probably another 3 minutes on the other side to cook this fully. So I'm going to take the salsa, and then I'm going to take my amazing, delicious, fragrant rice and spoon it next to my salsa. So we always have toasted pine nuts, toasted pistachio nuts, almonds, lows toasted. Okay, these are pomegranates, sea bass, and place it on top. Coriander, just to give it a little bit of green. That's it. Thank you.